Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Tom, and today we're going to be talking about the situation that is going on with Audible. I do want to quickly point you towards some of Daniel Green's videos. He has made quite a few about this. He seems to have a lot more information about it, is talking with authors and people that this is directly affecting and people who are a little bit more in the know of this situation. Obviously, a lot of this is coming second and third hand to me, but it is something that I want to talk about because Audible is probably my favorite subscription I have. I just want to get into this a little bit that if it wasn't for Audible, I would not be the reader that I am today. I would probably read closer to like 5 to 10 books a year when, because of Audible and because of audiobooks in general, I'm able to get closer to like 50 or 60 books a year. It's just what works best for me. The dyslexia, the time of reading, just being able to multitask and read at the same time has enabled me to become a more prolific reader, get to enjoy stories that I absolutely love. And Audible has really been the gateway of doing that. I've been using Audible since 2019 when I got back into reading. I can still remember I was walking around my parking deck at work trying to read and walk at the same time. And I finally was like, you know what? Let me just try reading or listening to audiobooks and seeing how it goes. And seeing what is going on with Audible right now is really disheartening. And in general, Audible is already a company that I was kind of on the ropes with. I was already trying to use the library more and things like that. But there's just something about the convenience and the way that Audible works that is just so well done that it is very hard to let go. Now, if you don't have any idea what is going on with the Audible situation, let me try to break it down as best as I can. And I just want to point out that this is allegedly, like I said, getting a lot of this secondhand. This is a little bit of hearsay, but it does seem like these are some of the things that are going on. So originally Audible worked on a credit system. You would get a membership, and for like 15 bucks a month, you would get one credit that you could spend on a book. And when you use that credit, an author would get a certain percentage of that. For the longest time, I think it was like 30% of that went towards the author, so a rather low amount. And honestly, it doesn't really matter what the amount is. Let's just say it is a low amount. And for a long time, authors were trying to work on getting that rate raised. Then I believe it was around the secret projects, Sanderson really spearheaded that by saying, we're not going to put the biggest Kickstarter of all time on Audible until maybe some things change. And so Sanderson and his team kind of worked with Audible to try to get author pay increased, which on the surface sounded great. But unfortunately, it looks like that's not really what happened. And I don't want this to sound like I'm blaming Sanderson in any way. It really seems like Audible was really tricky, allegedly, about what was going on here. So under the new system, instead of you having that one credit that you spent on an author and it went to that author, there's now another plan. So you're going to have Audible Premium, and then I think there's a lesser subscription. One is $15 a month, one is about $8. And basically, now when you use a credit, or when you have a membership, you are part of a catalog that has books that are included in your membership. And now when you spend a credit, let's say you buy The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, instead of that credit completely going to Sanderson, if you also listen to books inside of the Audible catalog, the premium catalog that is included at no additional cost to you, that credit is now split between The Hero of Ages and those other things that you listen to. So those authors are now reaping the benefit of the credit that you spent, but the author that you spent the credit on is getting less. Now, the caveat in here is that apparently the royalty rate has gone up. So maybe instead of 30%, it's now 50%, but that 50% can now be knocked down. So let's say it would have been $10 originally, but then you listened to two more premium books or whatever, or in their premium catalog. That $10 will now be, let's just well, it's not easy math because it's 3.333, but now let's say Sanderson would get the $3.33, and those other two authors would now get $3.33. So as you can see, it's taking away from where that credit is going. Because to me, when I make a purchase, I would expect that money to go to what I'm spending money on. I guess I never really thought about, if I listen to something in the Plus catalog, how the compensation was happening there. And a lot of this really seems to be a little bit of Audible trying to become a little bit more like a Spotify model, where you listen to what is on the platform, but you don't own anything. And I definitely have a massive problem with that. I've always honestly been a little dubious of Audible's claim that you own your audiobooks no matter what. Yeah, if you end your subscription, sure, they don't take it away from you. But as somebody who works in technology, I just know that anything digital is just not a real thing. They could revoke licenses. They could just, I mean, if Audible shut down all of their servers, if you don't have those downloaded onto a third-party device, like your own device, like poof, gone. Your library is gone. So I've always been dubious of that. But this just seems to be another step towards a direction that I personally really do hate. I hate the lack of physical media today. I like the fact that it's so hard to own things. Like I bought all of The Office on iTunes at one point. Apple has the ability to just remove it if they wanted to. Like, even though I own it, I don't really own it. I think you've probably heard of this. If you're in this space, you've probably heard of like you're buying a license to basically rent something, and if that something happens to that license, oh well, that's really what you're buying. The same kind of thing has been brought up with Kindle a bunch and your ebooks. Like, you don't really own your ebooks, but you kind of do. You own a license to access the ebook, all of that stuff. And this is just another step forward, and I think a very wrong step in the direction of Audible. Now, unfortunately, I don't know what the solution is. I know one thing that I have very much been battling with is, do I cancel my Audible subscription over this? And it's such a hard thing because I do think I could probably get a lot of the stuff from my library, or maybe I should try, I think the other big competitor is Libro FM, but I've been using Audible for so long. There's definitely some sunk cost fallacy stuff going on here with what I've got going on with Audible. So I don't really know what the point of this video is. I guess, is this something that's going to make you guys leave Audible? Is it really going to open your eyes to using things like the library or other services that are doing something similar, but maybe with less of an evil corporate empire behind it than Amazon that is Audible? I know for me, it is definitely something that I'm going to be looking into a lot. Maybe 2026 will be the year that I completely ditch Audible and go. I'm not ready to do it 100% yes. There are still ways that this could be worked out and I think improved upon. And once again, Daniel Green has some interviews with authors and everything on his channel. I'm definitely going to point you towards that. And I'm also going to have, there is a petition going on to kind of like get this blown up a little bit. So I'm going to have that down in the description below as well. But I really just kind of wanted to come on here, lay out the situation a little bit, give a little bit of my feelings, because it is like, I don't know, I have this weird attachment to Audible because it is the thing that really opened the door of reading again for me as an adult. And it is something like I use it pretty much every single day. And so, I don't know, personally, I feel partially responsible if I continue to support Audible in these things that they do, but also, you know, I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe if I really try, I can fill the gaps that Audible would leave behind. But Audible has such a chokehold on the market that I think it's a really hard thing to do. So hopefully, maybe if we get enough attention behind this, something good can come of it. Some changes can be made. Authors can be compensated fairly and, to me, correctly. If I'm spending money on something, I expect that money to go to that, not to something else. And maybe that needs to be more clearly defined. Maybe they need to change what is going on with this catalog. It seems like there's a lot of loopholes, a lot of things that nobody really has answers to yet. And so I'm just doing my small piece to bring some attention to this. I know I'm a drop in the bucket here in the YouTube community, but I think if it's something that I can get other people talking about, that is a good thing. So I'm going to end it there. Kind of an all over the place video. Once again, definitely check out the links in the description to Daniel's video that are a lot more intricate, have authors interviews, like direct quotes from people who are really like deep into the situation, stuff from Sanderson, stuff from other authors as well. And definitely check out the link to the petition as well. That once again, all be down in the description as always. But definitely let me know any of your thoughts in the comments below as well. I'd love to hear it because I think this is a really complex situation, and maybe there's a light or a better side to this that I'm not seeing. But that's going to be all for me. And remember, always read what you want when you want.